guys, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Mike.
This is the Disney for Couples podcast. It's your hub of information about traveling to the Disney parks or Disney cruises as adult couples. We don't talk about kids' meals, height requirements, nothing like that here because Disney is no place for kids.
That's right.
This is part 2 of our recap of our Disney cruise. If you didn't hear the first part, go back one episode and it'll be there. But really quickly, we went on the Disney Treasure. We did a 7-night, 8-day Halloween cruise in September/October. We just got back a handful of days ago, and we absolutely loved it. Today, we're going to be talking about the dining, the excursions, what it was like to disembark, and then just like our thoughts.
Yeah.
Do you still miss it?
I do. I miss walking around the ship. I miss seeing Mickey in his captain's attire.
I miss being completely closed off from world news.
That's a good one.
We had such little internet access that when we did have it, I was quickly checking work email and I really wasn't worried about what was going on in the world. And it was lovely to live in that bubble where everything is fine all the time.
I miss being forced to read my George Lucas biography because now I have all the other outlets.
Yeah, like
the digital
screens.
Hell.
Okay, so let's pick up where we left off, which is talking about dining. There is a ton of dining on the Disney Treasure. One of the things that Disney is known for is its rotational dining, which we really loved.
Oh, yeah.
But let's start kind of from the top. So like most cruise ships, there's a buffet. On the Treasure, it was called Marceline Market. It was open a third of the day. It closed at 2.
Yeah, like a breakfast block and a lunch block.
Yeah. And then we really liked the space. It was inside. It was really cutely decorated. You don't even have to bus your tables. They come and clear everything for you. And what we really liked about all of the Disney dining options, especially the more buffet style ones, was that you didn't serve your own food. You could get whatever you wanted and as much of it as you wanted, but all of the food had glass in front of it.
The sneeze guard. Yep.
Yeah. Even more than that, it was full glass.
2 sneeze guards.
You couldn't get to it if you wanted to, and you were served it. So I think it just kept things more hygienic.
Totally.
You didn't really eat at Marceline Market, right?
I ate very little. I enjoyed what I ate.
Yeah, it was kind of a little early for us.
Yeah.
We don't usually eat a big meal.
For me.
For you. Yeah. And then right by Marceline Market was that coffee bar.
Yeah, the
which was
espresso
cool.
bar.
Yeah, so we really liked it. The buffet, like we said, isn't open all day, but there was other stuff open all day. Why don't you tell everybody about Mickey's Festival of Foods?
I will, but first I want to give everybody a pro tip about Marceline Market Place.
Just Marceline Market, I think?
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. The kids' booth for food has some of the more delectable treat options.
Did it?
It
had fruit.
And that's also where the Mickey waffles were.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's where I would go every day, and I would get a little fruit cup and a little veggie cup with dip.
Right.
Tiny.
Because even though Walt Disney World and the Disney Cruise Line is no place for children, the children food is still delicious.
I have never enjoyed being around kids as much as I enjoyed being around them on the cruise. Actually, we didn't mention this last time, and I was thinking of it as I listened to that episode. But really quick, because one of my aunts asked, you went on a Disney cruise? Is just you two? And were there a lot of kids? There were a lot of kids, of course. There were a lot of families. They were
Locked up.
Disney cruise ships have a lot of stuff for kids. They have stuff for children, teenagers. So I think a lot of the time the kids were there, which is on a totally different deck of the ship than we were. We also spent a lot of time in the adults only sections. There's an adults only pool deck and a couple pools and a jacuzzi. There's bars and eateries. I can't remember if
I think Cove may have been an adults only lounge.
needless to say, there were a lot of places to go for adults. Even when we went to Castaway Cay, which we'll talk about a little bit more, there was an adults-only beach.
Right.
So we did our own thing. We were in places that kids weren't a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But they were so much fun. And we would like be walking around and there's this kid like, there'd be a kid dancing or just being like, hi, like talking to you.
A lot of child zoomies.
They were so cute when it was dress up night, when it was like Halloween celebration night in their costumes. So there were a lot of children, but it wasn't annoying. They weren't like screaming loud. I really don't remember one time that either one of us said something like, ugh, like I'm getting sick of being around kids, like you do at the park. At the park, like we get sick of being around kids.
I just remembered this. We were more upset by parents. Like, remember that little girl who dropped her toy?
Oh, and the dad who ignored you?
Yeah, and I picked it up for her and gave it to her, and her dad clearly
like
saw it.
Exist.
And just like,
just like you didn't exist.
Saw Netflix.
Yeah. Well, usually parents are the more annoying part of
yeah.
Anyway, if you're hesitant to go on a Disney cruise because you're worried it's going to be like kid central, we didn't feel like that.
No.
And if you go to the parks, it's like way less invasive on your space. The children and the teenagers on the ship, it was actually so much fun watching them have fun.
Absolutely.
Okay, so back to food. Festival of Foods is where we left off.
Okay. So Festival of Foods was open most of the day.
Yeah, it was open like kind of early in the day for like lunch, and some of the stands were open until midnight.
Yeah, like for a really long time. And it was themed. So there were like 5 or 6 booths that were all themed on different Disney characters, but then also different cuisines. So like you could go to Goofy's. I'm gonna screw the names up.
I think it was I think Goofy's was the burgers and like
so if you
hot dogs.
Yeah, so Goofy had like burgers and hot dogs. You go to Daisy, you get pizza. Donald had Mexican food. Mickey was barbecue, and then Minnie was mostly ice cream, right?
And fruit.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Festival of Foods was located not outdoors. It was on the pool deck that's outside, but the area where you got your food and where you ate was covered. And it was similar to the buffet. You would go up and you would like tell them what you wanted and they would serve you, but you could get like whatever you wanted, as much as you wanted. It was all included in the price. So all of the food that we're going to be talking about in this section is what was included in the price of the cruise. It's not anything we paid extra for.
Right. Yep. And then that also includes like the soft drinks.
Right. Like not alcohol.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, it was fun because if you were in the mood for like a little bit of this and a little bit of that, you could just go to the next stand and get whatever you wanted. They were like in a semicircle.
I'm still thinking about my pizza
I know you really like that pizza.
Pizza barbecue combo.
Yeah, the food was really good. I actually liked that food a little bit more than the Marceline Market food. And there were a lot of options, and because it was not every stand was open all day, but like it was open most of the day, and we would go up like in the middle of the night and get soda sometimes because that's where the soda was. Okay, so next let's talk about room service.
Okay.
Tell everybody about the room service, like what you could get, what we got.
You're gonna have to help me because
I did the ordering.
Yeah, I didn't that, and also I'm just kind of having trouble recalling.
Okay, so every night, if you wanted to get continental breakfast the next morning, you could just fill out like a little slip, and you would leave it on your door, and it would say like, I want coffee, I want donuts, blah blah blah. We did that once or twice.
Yeah, and that I remember had like no protein options. It was all like light breakfast food.
Yeah, it was like a continental breakfast, so you could get like I think you could get fruit, but it was you might have been able to get cereal, but it was like pastries, bagel. Like I got bagel one day,
kind of like what you would grab at the Holiday Inn Express on your way out.
Yeah, and then 24 hours they had room service. So like we said, it wasn't included in the price. Although we always left a tip, we would leave them like. We would leave them $1 a thing. So if we ordered like 3 things, we would leave them $3. And they had a decent menu for it being free.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the portions were on the small side, which we really liked because it didn't feel like an overwhelming amount of food, and you could get whatever you wanted whenever you wanted. So it didn't really matter if we were like still hungry, although we really weren't. I think we got burgers one day. We got like lunch in the room one day. We got that cheese plate. We ordered in the middle of the night when we were watching that Food Network show and it made us hungry. We got like grilled cheese and soup, and you got a bowl of pasta. That was great. It was a great little perk to know. You know, there were some times where we were like a little extra tired and would go back to the room to take a break. And there was a day and like a half that was very rocky, and we weren't always really feeling like being on deck. It was making us kind of tired, and it didn't make us sick, but it made us like woozy. And it was nice to know like we can go back to the room and just have something to eat and not have to go up and get it ourselves.
Right.
It was a great perk.
Totally.
Okay, so do you remember the restaurants enough to tell everybody about them? We spent a lot of time in the restaurant.
Definitely do better than the continental breakfast section.
Let me quickly explain what rotational dining is, and then you can like describe the restaurants. So there are 2 seatings every day on a Disney cruise. One was like at 5. We sat for dinner around 8 or 8:30 every day. You sit with the same people. So we mentioned it in the last episode, but we sat at a table of 6, us and 2 other couples, Kyle and Caitlin and Emily and Tim. We got really lucky that we really loved the people we were sitting with, and we all we had the same interests like beyond Disney, so it was a lot of fun to like, we really looked forward to having dinner with them every night. There are 3 main restaurants that are included in the cruise, and you go from one to the next. So one night you'd be at restaurant 1, the next night you'd be at restaurant 2, and then restaurant 3, and then you would repeat. And there was like an outlier because there was the Pirates night. That's the only night we didn't go to. And so you'd be at one restaurant 3 times and the other ones 2 times. And then during the day, we never did this, but it was a nice option to have. One of the restaurants would always have breakfast and lunch that you could go to.
Right.
And it was included too. So if you didn't want to get buffet food and you wanted to like sit down and order off of a menu, you could do that. And that was included as well. And when we say included, we mean included. Anything you wanted on the menu, you could get. Some of us would get 2 entrees. I've seen people on YouTube get like 3 entrees. There are multiple courses. The portions are small, which is nice because you can try a lot of stuff, but like
small-ish.
Whatever you want, you can get.
Yeah. So there were 3 rotational restaurants. I believe there were more, am I right? Were there more restaurants on the ship, but there were like the 3 rotation ones?
Yeah, there was a steak restaurant, which we didn't go to.
Yeah.
That was separate. You had to make reservations for it. And
I think Tim and Emily went to that.
I think they did. Yeah. And you paid on your own. And there might have been another restaurant that was like that. And then the Periscope pub, which is the place that we went one night, they had food too.
Right. Okay.
But the three that we went to, part of the rotational dining, were the only 3 like that.
Right. And they're sort of like signature Disney style restaurants. So one of them was Worlds of Marvel, which obviously is themed after Marvel superheroes, with like a real heavy leaning on Ant-Man and the Wasp for at least one of the main presentations, because we ate there twice. We were in that space several times, but we ate there twice.
Right.
The second time we had dinner there, it was like an all hands on deck like Marvel trivia game through all of dinner. And there are like those interactive bio-cylinders on the table that you would use to like participate in the screen-based show or to participate in the trivia. The food was good. I would say of the 3, it was my least favorite.
Yeah, I didn't really notice a difference in the food from restaurant to restaurant. Like,
oh, really?
Some nights I enjoyed my meals better than other nights. Every night that we went, it usually was like everything was pretty good, and maybe there'd be one thing that I would order that I wasn't like crazy about. But I don't think I would have preferred one restaurant over the other based on the food. I cared more about the like the ambiance.
Sure.
You know, I like the Walt Disney themed restaurant.
Well,
the
I
best.
certainly disliked that ambiance the most.
The Marvel.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, if you like Marvel, if you really are a Marvel fan, it was cool. But it's very like industrial, you know? I thought it was fine.
Warm too, right?
Like temperature?
Yeah, in the restaurant. I feel like I remember a couple of times us complaining about it feeling stuffy because that's like one of the restaurants where there's no windows whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, most of the places there weren't. When we would eat, like in the market, I think they had the windows that like opened at the top. Yeah, I don't even know if we were like above the water line when we were at those restaurants. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think, well, they were on 5. Marvel was deck 4, and the next, that doesn't matter. But I think they were all above the water level, and
it was stuffy. You're right. Like I think it would get really hot because there would be so many. I mean,
activity.
Half of the ship is in there at one time.
Yeah. The other 2 restaurants had windows.
Really?
Yeah. So
I don't remember that at all.
I want to just see if there's what else about the Marvel place should we mention, if anything, before I move on.
I don't think anything really. I mean, the theming of all the restaurants is very very themed down to the salt and pepper shakers. Like I really appreciated that, but yeah, I mean, I think that's all there is to say about that. You can see it online.
Very very good bread. They had
I didn't like the bread at all anywhere.
I loved it.
Really?
They had really, at the Marvel restaurant, they had really nice rolls, and they had like a roasted red pepper spread.
That I like the spread. I did not like the bread anywhere. I found all the bread to be like kind of stale.
So the second themed restaurant, I believe, is called Plaza de Coco, something like that.
Yep.
So themed after the Pixar film Coco. The sort of main cuisine style was Mexican, and they had a full live show. So they had like, I think it was like after the events of Coco, and like everybody's, the characters from the movie are like there celebrating or something like that.
I couldn't even tell you what that show was, honestly. I liked it. It was nice to have something going on. For our table, it kind of got in our way a little bit because we wanted to like chat.
Yeah.
But something that we didn't know until Caitlin told us on their first night, which again, Caitlin was like the VIP of our trip because she told us so much that we didn't know. She told us that if you go to the show on night 1, on like your first night dining there, you should make sure to go on night 2 also, because there's a show each night, but it is a continuation of the show on night 1.
Okay. So I don't remember
if
that.
you were paying very close attention, I guess you would miss the story. And the other thing that I really liked I do remember liking the food there, actually. That might be my favorite restaurant.
Okay.
But indoors, the interior is decorated to look like you're outside.
Yes.
Which is really, really pretty.
Similar to how Epcot has the like
Mexican pavilion?
The bazaar inside the temple.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked the food there. The show was cool. There's like one big row of windows all the way at the back of the restaurant.
Wow, I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah, so it's, you can at least see outside if it's the daytime.
They were real windows?
I believe so.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. I also really liked on the second night that we were there, they had the wait staff carrying around those animal posts, like the signs.
That's
like
right.
Really
that was
pretty,
fun.
like Mexican designs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then so the third final Disney like proper restaurant was 1923, which is named for the year that the Disney Animation Company was founded. There were 2 sides of the restaurant, a Roy side, like Roy Disney, and then the other side was Walt Disney, and it was really nicely themed. Can you talk about the theme a little?
Yeah, it was like the classiest of the 3 restaurants. It was up level. It reminded me a little bit of the steakhouse at the Contemporary.
Oh yeah, good.
What's that called? Steakhouse 71? Yeah, there were a bunch of when I think of the restaurant, I think of like the colors like cream and black and white.
Yes.
Because everything, like the settings and everything were like creamy colored. And then there were a lot of black and white images. There was a lot of like Walt Disney and Roy Disney memorabilia, photos of them and sketches from Disney movies through the years. It was just really, really nice. I wish I kept saying, like, I want to get up and walk around the restaurant.
I know, we didn't get to do that.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to do it. It would have been a good place to go for breakfast or lunch one day because you could get, like, just maybe a little more, like, take in a little bit more and walk around a little more. It was great. Yeah, I really liked it. That was my favorite restaurant to dine in just because it felt like the most adult, and it was just like the nicest. It was the nicest dining experience on board, I think.
And did it have sort of like the most traditional, like, fine dining adjacent food?
Maybe. I mean, I think that's where we had lobster.
Yeah. You got the salad, right?
I got a lobster tail.
I thought you got a salad with lobster too.
That was somewhere. That might have been there the other night. I did do that too.
Okay.
That's how I knew it was good. Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I guess maybe that would have just been the most like American,
I thought overall the cake products at all three of those restaurants were pretty lackluster.
Yeah, I didn't really have dessert, but I know that there were like mixed opinions about
Caitlin didn't like hers. I thought mine was like the chocolate cake that I got. I had a good sundae one night, an ice cream sundae.
Yeah, I had good rice pudding one night. the dessert that they have on there for grandmothers was coconut, so I'm like into anything coconutty. Now that I'm thinking of it, not only like because I know that the Coco restaurant was Mexican, but the other restaurants were like a little themed too in terms of food, because I remember when you got like the pasta at the Marvel restaurant.
Oh yeah.
And it was like black. Yeah. And I don't know if it was squid ink pasta or what, but like, so I think that the Marvel quote unquote theming of the food would kind of be just like futuristic,
aliens.
Just a little like, huh?
Said
aliens? Just like a little different, Yeah.
Because Marvel's a little different.
They're like a little different.
They're like
funky.
They're like edgy. And then also 1923 was the second restaurant that had windows. I think it had more than Coco.
Yeah, no idea. No idea at all.
Yeah.
1923 is where that one server almost spilled his entire tray of food on us because that was the very rocky day on the ship. There was one day that was extremely rocky, and the ship zigged and he zagged and like he caught himself. But I think Emily was sitting next to me and she like went for cover. She was like, oh God, she pictured it like falling on her.
Yeah. She probably would have gotten a lot of free stuff.
Well, it was all free anyway, so they just have to give her money.
Yeah, there you go.
One of the things that was really nice about the dining on the ship, the rotational dinner dining, was that we had the same wait staff the whole entire time. So we had a head waiter. Ours was named Zoltan, who we really loved. We chatted with him quite a bit.
Got that man's life story.
Yep, and it was so interesting. He should write a book. And then our head server he was like the head of the service team. Yeah. And then our head server was Tamara, who we absolutely loved. I hugged her every single day that I saw her.
She was your ship mom.
I was practically crying when we were leaving because I loved her so much. And then Arnold was our like second waiter, so he would be the back waiter kind of.
Right. He was the one that always brought the Diet Coke I wasn't expecting.
I was like the only one every night who would get like a cocktail with dinner or a glass of champagne or something.
Yeah, you kept him on his feet.
Miss Lindsay. They were really great, and it was really nice because they got to know what you liked. Yeah. So I was not consistent in what I ordered. I ordered different types of things every single night, but like you ordered a Diet Coke. That was like your drink, and you didn't even have to ask at a certain point. Yeah, they would just put it down in front of you.
Yeah, yep.
So that was nice, and we got to know them, and then we we saw them a couple times at the
on Castaway Cay
excursions, and like it's just nice to see the same people every day, and they get to know you, and they know your name, and like it's a special little part of it. Okay, so let's talk about excursions next.
Okay.
So this was it was an 8-day trip, but it really was a 7-day trip. And 3 of the days we were
at
port, right? Yep. And the rest of the time we were at sea. So you have to schedule your port excursions early before you're even on the ship. And then once you're on the ship, Like they basically are like, you cannot change anything.
You are locked in.
You have to do it. So the first time we were at shore, we were in Tortola.
Yep. British Virgin Island.
And tell everybody about our stinker of an excursion.
So the excursions when you're at port are not provided directly by Disney. They're through third-party companies that are, based on the islands. And we had signed up for an excursion that had us getting on an open-air bus at about 1:45 in the afternoon. We were supposed to have like a pretty long drive around the island up into the hills. There was, I believe I remember reading that there were supposed to be a couple of spots where we actually got out and were able to take pictures.
I thought so too. Yeah, it was supposed to be like a 2.5 hour, 3 hour tour of Tortola. We knew that we didn't want to go to the beach in Tortola. It just wasn't one of the places where we cared about going to the beach. So we purposely picked a shorter tour that did not have a lot of beach time.
Right. And, the guy stopped a couple of times so people could take pictures. And, he had a decent attitude. But what ended up happening was we drove for far less time than we were anticipating. And we ended up spending the bulk of that excursion on the beach. I think we were supposed to get 1 hour of beach time. And when we arrived, the guide said, okay, we've got 2.5 hours. And we were just like, oh my God.
Yeah. We
didn't bring swim gear.
We did not want to go swimming on that beach. We were waiting for St. Thomas and mainly Castaway Cay. So we just figured, well, we only have an hour at the beach. We'll kind of just like lounge.
Yep.
We were not prepared. We didn't have anything that we needed with us. We were stuck on this hot, kind of dirty beach.
Yeah, we didn't even have cash.
Yeah.
We were lucky that we found like a bar
restaurant. That place saved us.
Yeah, like a bar restaurant that was nearby, so we were able to kill some time there. But it was a huge letdown, kind of a bait and switch, if you ask me. And fortunately, we were able to talk to Port Adventures. Is that what they were called?
Yeah, they were like the Disney crew on the ship that arranged the port.
Yeah.
The port excursion.
So we put in a complaint based on, our experience, and we didn't even get the chance to talk to someone directly. They left us a voicemail to say that they knew that we had gotten in touch with them, but by the next day we had gotten what we wanted, which is that we had another excursion planned for St. Thomas, and based on our experience with the Tortola excursion, we didn't want to go on another excursion, and they allowed us to cancel, and we got a full refund.
Yeah, that would be my one and only complaint of the entire trip, was that that excursion turned out to not be what it said it was.
Right.
I'm sure a lot of people were really happy to get more beach time, but we just wanted what we had booked, and it wasn't that, and there was no way to get back to the ship. We were stuck there.
Oh yeah. We were at the whim of the driver.
Yeah, and even with that being our one complaint, and it was kind of a big one, that kind of shot. That day was kind of shot for us. That was a day we were too tired to go to dinner, and we just went to the bar and went back to the room.
You had to keep telling me to calm down when I was talking to the Disney guest experience.
I know, because you were making it sound like even more dramatic than it was.
I was like, we were stranded.
You told him we were stranded, and I was like, no. The guy did not leave us there. We were with everybody.
I missed the ship.
You felt stranded, but we weren't stranded. But yeah, like Mike had said, what we did was we talked to customer service on board because Port Excursions wasn't there, and they said they were going to pass the information along, and we really thought we were going to have to follow up with these people and chase them down, and maybe even get stuck paying for the St. Thomas excursion that we did not want to go on another thing that we booked,
adventure,
not knowing if it was going to be what we booked. We didn't want to get into the same thing. And they handled it so beautifully. They called us one time and said, like, call us back, and we just didn't. We didn't get to it
for one reason or another.
And then the next thing we knew, they said, like, you're all taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the refund was in our thing, and they had canceled it for. It really was. They handled it so well, and I was really impressed with how smoothly that went because we asked for something reasonable. We didn't want a refund for the thing we'd already been on. We just wanted to not get into a mess the next day.
Right.
So the next day when we stopped at St. Thomas, we just got off the ship like a lot of people did. We saw people doing that the day before, and we just like walked into town and we took that gondola ride up to the top of the mountain to like see the view of the ocean.
It was great.
And the St. Thomas city or town or whatever it was. We walked around for a while and then at our convenience just went back to the ship knowing that in a couple days we were going to be at Castaway Cay and that's where we could get our beach time.
Right. Yeah.
And, not everybody's excursion was like that, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Emily and Tim, who we sat with,
They had
went
awesome excursions.
scuba diving for the first time ever for both of them. And they loved it. They said it was their best part of the whole trip. So that was just our experience. And we also loved the ship so much that we really didn't mind being on the ship extra when everybody was at port. So
yes.
And then we went to Castaway Cay, which we loved.
Yeah. And before we get into that, I want to give a small little shout out to guest experiences, I believe is what they're called on
like
the ship.
Customer service on the ship?
Yeah, because one of the times that I don't even think it was that situation, we had to go talk to them for another reason, and there was a lost child. Remember the
that
poor little
boy
who was freaking out? Yeah, they handled him so delicately. They were so kind. There were a lot of cast members.
There were like a team of people around that kid.
They were really working on the situation. They brought him drinks. They were talking to him and trying to keep his spirits up. I mean, that happens at the Disney parks a lot too, but it was kind of unique seeing it on a ship.
Yeah. Yeah. We went to them a few times and they were always like great. And even if there was a line, they were really efficient. So,
right. Castaway Cay.
Castaway Cay. So what did we do on Castaway Cay? We arrived. We were there for most of the time we were docked. Like we spent the most time off the ship that day.
Yep. That's Disney's private island for those unaware. So it's definitely got like the most Disney feel. It feels the most connected to like your ship experience. The food was from the ship, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and so were our servers.
Yep.
Like the people who were, because we saw our people serving. Right.
And they had excursions in Castaway Cay too, but we opted to spend the time at the adults only beach.
Yeah, it reminded me, if anybody's ever been to Typhoon Lagoon, it reminded me a little bit of that. It's like very beachy. I really liked it there. I know that some people weren't like as impressed. It kind of was just like, it's a beach.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I really only really wanted a beach.
Yeah,
I thought
it was pretty.
that the water was really pretty.
Yeah.
There's trams kind of like at the parks at the parking lot, so you didn't have to walk because it's big to walk.
Those. Yeah.
There was an adult only section that was a big part of the beach with tons and tons of chairs, and you could go swimming in the ocean, of course. I really liked that there were lifeguards.
Yes.
I'm I love the ocean, but I'm like healthily afraid of it too, and especially with the hurricane waves and stuff. Like I was just really, because there weren't, at least in Tortola, there wasn't a lifeguard. So I liked that part of it. I felt like safer. There was food where we were at the adult section. We just didn't know it. So we all, but we went snorkeling. We kind of like lounged. We had some lunch. Lunch was good. It was like another
buffet
they
style.
serve you buffet style with like burgers and barbecue and stuff like that. There were a couple little gift shops. And then if we wanted to, which we didn't take advantage of any of this because we really just wanted to relax, but they had like, you could do bike riding, or you could do like, there were those water bicycles that you could take out on the water, and like there's a 5K lap. You could run like a 5K there. So, I mean, there's not too much to say about it other than that. It was pretty. It was well maintained. If you like a good beach day, I just really liked being there. It was Disney.
Very pleasant.
Yeah, it was lovely. And the ship is right there. So when you're done, it's just like you just go right back to it.
You can run to it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just quickly explain what disembarking was like because it was just as smooth as can be.
Yes.
And start with the night before when we packed kind of early.
So the night before, the ship staff provided you with luggage tags. And so once you packed up your bags, I believe you were supposed to have them out in the hall by about 10:30 p.m. with your tags on. They were character tags, like we were Donald. And they took the bags down. So like the next morning, we only had, what we would consider our carry-ons with us. Our main luggage had been brought to like the terminal at Port Canaveral, and fetching it was very efficient. It was organized by character group. So like we had that, final breakfast at Worlds of Marvel in the morning, and then once our group was called, we were able to get off the ship, go to the area where our luggage was staged and pick it up. We actually had an issue. One of our luggage tags had fallen off, but we had people helping us immediately, and within 10 minutes, I would say, they had found it. They placed it in like a, non-marked luggage area, and we showed our birth certificate and our identification to, get back to the U.S. And I mean, that was it.
Yeah, it was so easy. Doing the luggage the night before was a nicety that they offered us. It wasn't mandatory. It was just a convenience. It got us off the ship quicker, but it was just nice. We didn't have to take our luggage with us.
Yeah.
It was like being at an airport and checking it practically. So, and then whatever you want to keep with you, you can keep with you. There's not restrictions on what you can or cannot pack. So that was great. So in the morning, it didn't take much to get out of there. You have breakfast with the people you've been dining with the whole time. So we sat with, our friends, and we had our wait staff, and that's when we got to say goodbye to everybody.
Yep.
And they want you off that ship. Like, I remember my dad saying, like, it could take all day to get off the ship. Our breakfast was at 8.
Yeah.
That's when you leave the room. You leave the room with all your stuff. Breakfast was at 8. You're not rushed to get out of breakfast. But once we were done, it was our time to leave the ship. They had already called us, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, even getting, like Mike said, even getting through, what's it called? Customs was so easy. It was so Disney. And I was very nervous when we couldn't find our luggage because it's kind of on an honor system. Like, anybody could have taken off with their luggage.
We had a red luggage.
But as soon as somebody noticed, like a Disney cast member, because everybody employed is Disney cast members. As soon as one of the women noticed that I was having a hard time, her and another woman were like on top of it. And before I could even get nervous, they had found it. It was like, I think you had said it was in Lost and Found because the tag had fallen off when they had moved it. So, and then even like getting to where we got the bus for the rental car, that was organized because that's part of the Disney ports.
Right.
It was just as easy as it gets. It was like, as long as you had your stuff and your paperwork, it was pain-free, fast. We got that car. We were like in that car and on the way to our airport or our hotel in Orlando before I knew it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was great.
Yep.
So we've talked a lot about everything that we loved, but what are a couple of things? Give me like 2 or 3 things that you would do differently next time.
Okay. I would want to explore all of the ship. We explored most of the ship, but there were some restaurants and even some full decks, I believe, that we didn't get to see. We made a point of, even like going to deck 2 to see what the Small World nursery looked like. And I thought that was great. And that was, I think, the same night that we did kind of like go around and see spots we hadn't seen up to that point. But I just wish that I had seen the entire ship or as much of it as I was allowed to see. Yeah.
I agree. Similarly, I feel like I would, we also, we also like really do our vacations our way. We don't feel pressure to like do everything. But we've watched a few YouTube videos since we've been home of like similar Disney cruises, and there's a lot that we missed on ours. Now, we just kind of wanted to take this first cruise and just do exactly what we wanted. But I do think that there were like a handful of things that I didn't even really know were going on the ship, honestly. Probably because Caitlin didn't tell me, and Caitlin was like my guru on the ship. But I just didn't know some of them were going on, and I think next time I would be more willing to like participate a little bit more.
Sure, yeah.
I also wish I had maybe gotten like a little more pool time. The weather was weird.
Yeah.
At times. But I maybe just wish I had like gotten up a little earlier and gotten up there a little earlier. But it felt like, there was that one day that it took us 3 times to get out there without the rain. So honestly, maybe my solution would be not going during hurricane season, because we had iffy weather.
Yeah, spotty. I would argue that they're not like, when I think of a pool, I think of like being able to lay out on my back on the surface of the water and like kind of swim here and there. They weren't like that.
They weren't swimming pools. They weren't like lap pools. They were like cool off pools. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get into the jacuzzi.
Yeah, we didn't do that. Yep.
What else? I mean, I can't really even think of like what I probably wouldn't book an excursion. I wouldn't waste that day, like unless it was, if we go to Alaska like we want to, we're probably going to book excursions because that's like the way to experience. But if you're going to a beachy area, I don't know that if we go back to the Bahamas, if I need to do anything other than like snorkel.
Okay. Yeah.
Which you wouldn't do.
I learned that I hate snorkeling. Yeah. I would say we were close to this at points anyway and made it work. There were times that even though we had paid for internet, it just wasn't working based on where the ship was. So I just wouldn't buy the internet. It was so crappy and hard to deal with, and we had to do all that weird like switch the DNS.
It was way more trouble than it was worth.
Yeah, and for how little we used it, because correct me if I'm wrong, even if you didn't buy it, you could still use the ship Wi-Fi for the Disney Cruise Line app.
The app worked no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I just wouldn't have bought it.
Because you had Wi-Fi. That was the thing. You were connected to you could connect to the Disney Wi-Fi. It was kind of like being on an airplane where like you can connect to the Wi-Fi, but you can't use it really.
Right.
But they couldn't block you out of the app because you needed it.
Right.
I don't know why this happened to us on this trip because we're such night owls, but we burned out early a lot of the time.
Which was nice.
I would have a little more nightlife. On that second to last night when we went to the Haunted Mansion bar, and like we were really tired, but we made ourselves go because we knew we wanted to go, a third time because like that's why we went on the ship. And I could tell that people had gone every night. Like people knew.
Like the bartenders knew people as they walked in.
Yeah, and like the people knew, they were like reciting things that were said in the bar. Mm-hmm. And I thought like, oh, that's fun. And like, I think I would just make myself do that a little more. Mm-hmm. I didn't catch on until like more than halfway through that they do not care if you sit down and get a soda. Like there were some times when I kind of wanted to go to the Scat Cat. I think I called it the Scat Cat.
It's the Scat Cat Lounge.
Yeah, I called it something wrong last time. That I wanted to go, but I felt like, God, I don't want to drink. Like we got partway through that trip and I was like, I am done drinking. Like we didn't drink super heavily, but like I just was done. Like I didn't want any more alcohol. I was done
before you were done.
Yeah. And I would feel like, well, I want to check out the Scat Cat Lounge or whatever, but like I don't want to get a drink. And I just didn't it didn't click in quickly enough for me that like they don't care if you get the $5 soda. So I think I would do a little more. They don't care if you're there
for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think I would do a little more of that to experience it more and get more like adult experiences. And that was part of the fun of booking the trip, was like, oh, there's all these different bars. But I mean, truly, this was just one of the best vacations we've ever been on and I've ever been on. I wouldn't really change that much.
Yeah,
I'm going to be very sad to go on another cruise and like not have the people.
Older ship too.
Yeah, and to be on an older ship and to not have the people we made friends with. But, you know, like I said in the last episode, that's the bittersweet and wonderful part of really loving a trip, is that you also really miss it. So
yeah, absolutely.
I encourage anybody who's on the fence to splurge on a Disney cruise. It was well worth the money. I can't say enough good things about it.
I agree.
All right. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Go over to DisneyForCouples.com to check out more of our tips and tricks for going to the Disney parks as adults, and head over to MagicalStickerShop.com to go sticker shopping for vinyl waterproof stickers. And we're going to have magnets soon in the shop. So head over there, and thanks so much for listening. Stay young at heart like Walt would want.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.